Welcome students. This video deals with a summary of the prose The Portrait of a Lady by Khushwant Singh, 11th Standard, Unit 1. Khushwant Singh was an Indian novelist, lawyer, journalist and politician. He studied law at St. Stephen's College, Delhi and King's College, London. He joined the Indian Foreign Service in 1947. As a writer, he is best known for his keen interest in secularism, sarcasm, and love for poetry. He was awarded Padma Bhushan in 1974 and Padma Vibhushan in 2007 and Sahitya Academy Fellowship in 2010. The Mark of Vishnu, A History of Sikhs, The Train to Pakistan, Success Mantra, We Indians, and Death at My Doorstep are some of his brilliant works. Between 1980 and 1986, he served as the Member of Parliament in Rajya Sabha, the upper house of the Parliament of India. Author Khushwant Singh writes an autobiography depicting the true state of human relationships in joint families. The author's feelings and opinions about his grandmother are described in the summary. He explains how he spent his childhood in a village with his grandmother and tells about the changes that took place during his migration to the city. Finally, he writes emotionally about his grandmother's death. The story begins with the narrator describing his old grandmother. His grandmother was short, healthy, and slightly bent. Her hairs were silver in color and were scattered over her wrinkled face. She used to walk around the whole house in white clothes. She kept her one hand resting on her waist and the other hand was telling the beads of her rosary. Though she wasn't beautiful physically, she possessed deep spiritual beauty. He compares her calm face with the winter landscape. His grandfather's portrait hung above the mantelpiece in the drawing room. He wore a big turban and loose-fitting clothes. His long white beard covered the best part of his chest, and he looked at least 100 years old. When Singh was a child and his parents were away, he was brought up by his grandmother, who used to wake him up and get him ready for school. While performing this daily work, she used to sing prayers which she wanted him to learn by heart, but in vain. She would walk with him to and from his school. On their way back, they would throw chapatis to the village dogs. When his parents were comfortably settled in the city, Singh and his grandmother went to stay in the city. That was the turning point in their friendship. Although they shared the same room, his grandmother no longer came to school with him. The writer used to go to an English school in a school bus and studied subjects like English, mathematics, physics, and many more subjects. She felt upset that no teaching about God and scriptures at the English school. One day, he announced that he was given music lesson. She said nothing, but her silence meant disapproval. When the writer went to a university, he got a separate room in the house. The common link of the relationship between the grandson and the grandmother was broken. Grandmother accepted her loneliness. She spent plenty of her time sitting beside her spinning wheel and reciting prayers. In the afternoon, she relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows. When the writer decided to go abroad for further studies, his grandmother was not even sentimental. He came to leave him at the railway station but did not talk or show any emotion. Silently, she kissed his forehead. The writer was thinking that it might be his last meeting with his grandmother. But when he came back after 5 years, his grandmother was there to welcome him back and he saw her celebrate his return. The next morning, after the return of his grandson, she got ill. The doctor told it was a mild fever and it would go away very soon. But she could foresee that her time to leave this world was near. She laid peacefully in bed, praying and telling her beads till her lips stopped moving and rosary fell from her lifeless fingers. After a few hours of mourning, they left her alone to make arrangement for her funeral. Thousands of sparrows flew in and sat scattered on the floor around her body to grieve her death. When Grandma's dead body was carried away for the last rite, all the sparrows flew away without making any noise. Take care of your grandparents. Thank you.